Welcome to Biz Wire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. Taxes, trade, and Syria are at the top of the agenda at the much-anticipated 8th Leaders Summit of the Group of 20 that starts today in St. Petersburg, Russia. Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived Wednesday for the first multilateral economic summit he's attended since taking office in March. State-run media outlet Xinhua said Xi Jinping will also focus on IMF reform, fighting protectionism, as well as briefing fellow leaders on China's economic development. Officials from the G20 nations are expected to sign an agreement to fight tax avoidance by multinational corporations. The group of developing and developed nations formally backed plans to tackle international tax avoidance and evasion at its meeting in July. A key part of the president's deliberation at the summit is said to be on reforming the IMF's quota system, whereby the emerging markets and developing countries can increase their representation and voting rights in the organization. President Xi will also meet on the sidelines with leaders from other so-called BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa. The 5 nations are expected to discuss ways of boosting demand within their own countries as a way to stimulate growth within the bloc. There is a feeling among some analysts that the BRICS boom days are over. For example, Russia recently lowered its forecast for gross domestic product growth from 2.4 to 1.8%. India is contending with a plunging currency, among many other issues, while China's growth rate has seemed to stabilize at around 7.5%. Director of Russian Studies at Beijing Normal University, Li Xing, says the summit is a good opportunity for Xi to explain how China is adjusting its economy to sustainable growth. A professor at the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences, Zheng Jianrong, says China still enjoys stronger growth momentum than other developing nations. Inside meetings, Zhang expects Beijing and Moscow to boost trade settlement through local currencies and end reliance on the U.S. dollar. Among the larger group, discussing global monetary policy is also expected to be on the agenda. Suggestions by the U.S. Federal Reserve that it could soon start to curtail its monetary stimulus measures have created havoc with the markets and currencies of fellow G20 members India, Indonesia, Turkey, Brazil, and South Africa. Investors have rushed to pull out money on the expectation that the momentum that buoyed these countries over the past year would shift. U.S. President Barack Obama is expected to lobby his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to support military strikes against Syria during a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit. Observers said Beijing was likely to continue to side with Russia to oppose military intervention in response to allegations that Syrian President Bashar al-Assad used chemical weapons against his people. Others say if the U.S. has clear proof of chemical weapons, then Beijing may end up supporting a strike against Syria. The G20 summit will go on through Friday, and after which Xi Jinping will continue his tour through Central Asia, where he will attend a meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Bishkek. You're watching Biz Wire on the Blue Ocean Network. All of our stories can be seen on our website, BONTV/biz-wire. In just a second, we'll continue with more insight into the big picture of China's economy.